Hey everybody! So I hope that the wind is not too loud, and hopefully it doesn't end up making a mistake that way. But I wanted to take a few minutes and talk to you about one of our core values at Mama Roo's. One of the things that makes us different on this beautiful day, and that value is veganism. I was wearing this shirt that my husband got me. I don't know if you can see it, but it says vegan, compassion, nonviolence for the people, for the planet, for the animals. And I like this so much because I feel like it really talks about what this means to me and what it means for my brand. And so I just wanted to take a second and tell you, because a lot of people think of it as just kind of one thing, and for me it's a lot of faceted things. So the first here is compassion, and that's an underpinning of everything that we stand for as a brand. It's why I wanted to start my brand, was because I wanted to help other parents through what was a difficult time for me. In terms of veganism, we think of compassion as for the animals, but for me, it really extends to so much. I don't think we can say there's too much compassion in the world, and we just want to do our part by providing clear, kind, compassionate service, treating our own people, which is small, but we may grow, treating our people fairly, and by stocking products that are made by people who care about their own employees and the families they serve. By supporting us, you're supporting real families in meaningful ways, which I think is really wonderful and something that I want you to know. The second thing here, I don't know if you can see, it says nonviolence. And so as we see news full of proclamations that, we're on the verge of a potential World War III, and of course the very, real current danger right now, not just in Ukraine, but in countries throughout the world, and violence in cities almost everywhere. It's a really sobering reminder to me that nonviolence, which is, always something I believed in, is a key component of my motives for this store, being vegan. Many people don't realize how much land is fought over and people killed over animal production throughout the world. But nonviolence, this issue extends so far beyond this. And if you're someone who believes that violence is not the answer in parenting and in our world, I think the next point here is really important. So this says for the people. And so what people, you may ask? That's what a lot of people say when they say, why does that have to do with veganism? But, not just, for us, it's not just those involved in turf wars over land for cattle, but those working in hazardous conditions, both here in the U.S. and around the world, to provide these products. But for me, it's not just animal products. For me and our brand, it's not just for the animals, for the people. When I became a mom, I really started to feel the impact of how families are affected by things in our world, and I know probably a lot of you feel this way too. In some ways, every child I see is my child. That emotional, that change that happens, especially with the hormones that change us in pregnancy and breastfeeding, and there are permanent changes that happen to us as people, and even in our chemistry as we become parents. And so when I look at families, when I look at how things are produced, for our brand, for Mama Roo's, we work with brands who treat, like I said, we treat employees fairly, pay them fair wages, don't use coercive, dangerous practices in their warehouses and in their labor. The reality is that forced labor is a problem everywhere, and we don't want to contribute to that, because families are families everywhere, no matter what they look like or where they live, and they all should have the right to be safe and able to care for their children, able to care for their families. None of us is perfect. We live in a damaged world, and there is a lot of problems with production of almost everything. But here at Mama Roo's, we're really doing our part in how we source things and who we stand behind. And that includes our stances to support those who are being oppressed, everywhere. Neo-Nazis are not welcome here. We are anti-racist. We support people no matter how they present and what their families look like. We are against Asian American and Pacific Islander hate. We support Native artists. We don't culturally appropriate carrier styles and patterns. And we're open to how to do better. We regularly give to organizations that support these causes, because we want to make a difference in reducing suffering in this world. And you can contribute too, even to the causes that we're supporting. We have options at checkout, because I want you to know that this is important to us. We want this world to be better for all of us and all of our families. And then the next line here is for the planet. So this is my, initial jump to veganism. This is kind of my my push. It's a reminder for me that when we choose not to use animals, we also choose to reduce methane gases. We choose to reduce land use that is being taken from wild habitats, and we leave less of a burden for our children to bear. Climate change kills. Protecting our planet however we can saves lives everywhere, human and animal. And I want a beautiful and healthy world for all of our children, and I know that you want that too. And so that's part of our mission in this small way. And then the final line here, of course, for the animals. So ultimately, that's where I land as an ethical vegan. You don't have to be a vegan to be here. That doesn't have to be your personal, your personal journey. But I do believe that when we help even the smallest and most helpless among us, we can only grow as people in our capability to love other humans and work for a peaceful and safe world that we all want to raise our children in. So this is just, a little reminder of who I am, what's important to me, and to this company. I want to support you. I'm an East Coast cradle Catholic vegan mom in this little corner of the baby wearing world, and I'm not perfect, but every day I'm working to become better and to make this a welcoming and a joyful place to be with a mission that's worth supporting. I always come back to this idea that if I don't stand for anything, then that is telling people that that anything goes, and that's not true. I want you to know there are definitely important things that we stand for, and I'm grateful to all of you who have been on this journey with us, and even if you don't resonate with every single thing, even if you're not vegan, like I said, you're still welcome here, and I hope that you see some value in the goals that we have. And so that's a big component of who we are and who I am. So that's all that I have for you today. I'm sending you love and light. I'm praying for peace and joy in your life and the lives of all who are in need. And I am always thinking of you and always wishing you well. Have a wonderful day.